So I figured I would do a live video for all the subscribers, and I've done a few for the members, and I felt it was important to do a live with the subscribers since you guys a lot. I know a lot of people can't afford the membership, and the membership strictly to raise money for the research that I'm trying to do. I know it's a little pricey, but I had it like at $2 or $3 in the past. Maybe it was like $4, but I wasn't like making anything off of it, and it was a ton of work on my shoulders. So I apologize. And yeah, it was rough because I knew I had to put out a video every so often, and it just caused a lot of stress. So I tried making it worth my time, and yeah, that's why we're here today. And yeah, you guys have to bear with me. I got Invisalign in my teeth, and it's really hard to pronounce certain words now. But yeah, let's get into it. I'm happy to see everyone here in the chat, and I didn't expect too many people, honestly. And it's cool that you guys were waiting for me. But yeah, we had a lot of activity at the killing fields, and it was really cool to experience. I honestly wasn't expecting it, but at the same time, I was, because this past year, there's just been a lot of things that have taken place at the Killing Fields farm. And before we get into this last trip, I'll talk about it. And yeah, before I get into that, I want to say hi to everyone. It's good to see you guys in the chat. And yeah, you'll have to bear with me because it's hard for me to think of what I'm going to talk about, focus on everything that's going on, especially with the chat. There's no one helping me. It's just me doing this alone. And yeah, so basically, the activity that we experience at the farm, at the conservation area is nestled in the Mark Twain National Forest. It was strange. One night I was camping there alone, and I didn't experience much activity. And I was like, dang it, another trip out here. And there's not a whole lot going on. So I went to bed probably around midnight, and I lay down in my tent, and I was just laying there. And then I heard thump, 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 thump. Something ran past my tent. And I just laid there like, oh, shoot, what was that? Why would a deer just wait for me to go to bed and then just run right through my camp? So I didn't really think too much of it. And I think it was like 2 weeks after that, maybe a month. I'm not really sure. Adam from the Half Inch Wrench crew camped there with me. And I told him about that incident. I said, something ran past my tent. It wasn't like a fox, a coyote. It was thump, 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 which was weird because whatever it was waited till I went to bed. So I shook it off, and we did some research out there, and we had some strange experiences. We were out there on a trail, and it sounded like something was charging through the woods, and it stopped right there at the wood line. Didn't know what it was. We just brushed it off. Not everything's Bigfoot out in the woods, right? And later on, we went down another trail. This was on a different day, and Adam's chain fell off of his bike, and I can hear something big moving through the woods. I mean, I was almost 100% sure that an elk was about to step out of the wood line. And I'm looking at Adam, and he's bent over working on his chain. I was like, do you not hear that? He's like, yes, but I'm trying to get this chain back on my bike. And I was like, good point. And whatever it was, it just stopped right there at the edge of the wood line. And I remember running into the woods, and there was nothing there. Like, we never even heard anything take off running. So that was pretty strange. But anyways, on that trip, we went to bed, I think around midnight, 3 in the morning. I'm not really sure. And I remember waking up around 4 or 5 in the morning, and I could hear boom, boom, like big footsteps. And I heard this heavy breathing, like, and I was thinking, oh man, Adam probably got up to take a pee. And I can hear like pots and pans being rattled around. And I don't know. I was just laying there like, what the heck is Adam doing? And as I'm thinking that, I can hear Adam breathing like in his tent. He's not like snoring really loud, saw like he's not snoring very loud. But anyways, I realized that he was in his tent sleeping, and I could hear this thing just boom, boom. And like I said, pots and pans being rattled around, and I'm like, oh my God. I was scared. I didn't really care about the camera. I was just like, what the heck's going on? But I was so tired that I fell back asleep, woke up a few times, could hear it. And yeah, I got up the next morning and I was like, dude, I had the strangest dream. It sounded like something was stomping around our camp, breathing really loud and rattling pots and pans. And Adam's like, well, that wasn't a dream because I heard it too. So that was one strange thing that happened. On another trip, there was some guests out there. David has some friends that come out every now and then that are really interested in Bigfoot, and I'm friends with them as well. They brought their daughter Jansen. She's a nurse in Springfield, Missouri, and we were all hanging around the campfire. I just went out there for the day. I didn't bring all kinds of equipment, but I had my backpack that has like my thermal, my camera, and other gear just in case Bigfoot does come out. But anyways, it was like 3 p.m. in the day, and we heard this vocalization down in the holler, and it was just I can't even replicate it. It's just this prehistoric female sounding vocalization. That's the best way I can explain it. And me and Jansen looked at each other and she's like, yeah, like we didn't have to say, we didn't have to exchange words. Like we just knew that we both heard something. And the people there were talking, her grandparents and David, and we asked them, "Did you guys hear that?" And they're like, "No, no, we didn't hear it." Like, okay, whatever. And I'm scanning around with my thermal device and I see a heat signature down on the ridge where we usually see the orbs, and I'm like, "Oh, it's daytime. That's probably a rock." And I didn't even record it. I'm just like, "That's a big rock down there." But anyways, I'm talking with everyone there, and I pull out the thermal device, and there's nothing there. And I was like, "Okay, there was definitely something there," and I regret not filming that. And probably 20 minutes after that, we hear this loud vocalization coming from the state park, just a again, I can't even like replicate it. Like it was monstrous. You could tell this was a big male. And me and Jansen looked at each other. We're like, yep, yep. We're like, yeah, that was strange. Again, David and Jansen's grandparents didn't hear it, but we heard it, and it was super cool. And I honestly wish I was camping when we heard that, but I wasn't. Like I said, I just went out there for the day, and it was actually raining, and it blew my mind because these vocalizations happened like 3 in the day, like 3 p.m., which blew my mind. So I knew there was something going on there. But anyways, let's get to this last trip. I'm trying to like center myself. It's not working. I don't know. But anyways, yeah, on the last trip, we heard the vocalizations. It was that same one that me and Jansen heard that I just told you guys about, except Adam and Jansen's grandparents heard it along with me. Or I don't know if Jansen's grandparents heard it, but me and Adam definitely heard it. It was monstrous. I mean, it sounded like a semi truck in the distance, but it wasn't. It was definitely a Bigfoot call, and it was stuff that I've heard in the Olympic forest and on the West Coast. And it did it about 3 or 4 times, and it happened after we shot the Tannerite. We think the loud boom triggers activity. We're not sure if the blast messes with their senses, if it ticks them off. But we do know one thing: if you want to experience Bigfoot activity, you want to create curiosity. And these things are curious creatures, and that's their downfall. And they're super elusive, super intelligent, but for some reason they're extremely curious. They'll look through people's windows. When you go to bed at night, they'll rummage around your campsite. And yeah, I did somewhat record the vocalizations. I couldn't hear it on my sound system on my big screen TV, but for some reason when I listen to it on my cell phone, I can hear the vocalization. You really have to listen, and I'm not sure why that is, but anyways, after I heard the vocalizations, I got all my equipment out and I don't know, just going through things. I'm like, here's my audio recorder, here's the microphones, here's the cables. And I ran through that field and went up the ridge and set up my recorder. It did not do the vocalizations again, but I did capture something, and me and Adam didn't hear it. So here's what happened after the vocalizations. Later on that night, the guests that were there, they left, and me and Adam were doing research. Well, it got late, and Adam's like, I need to go up on the hill and call Brittany because there's zero cell phone signal where we are. And we drove Adam's vehicle up there to the old campground where I usually camp at, and he called Brittany. And when we were up there, I said, "Hey, do a call." So he did his Ohio man call, and I did my loud whoop, the same whoop I always do. Well, after that trip, I reviewed the audio and I heard the vocalizations that I captured that I put in the film, and I'm like, why did we not hear that? And about, I would say, 15 or 20 minutes after those vocalizations, I hear me and Adam way up there in the campground do our calls. So I was like, oh my gosh, these things vocalized when we got in the vehicle and drove across the field and went up there on the ridge to the campground. So I think they vocalized when we left, like they were communicating to one another. And that was my theory for a few days. And then it hit me today. Like I was sitting here just thinking about it and I was like, oh my gosh, when we went up there to the campground, Yowie was all alone at camp. So I don't know if these things were vocalizing like, "Hey, they left. It's time to make our move and snatch this dog." I don't know. It's just a theory, but I wonder if that's why they were vocalizing. What are your guys' thoughts? Let me know in the comments. These comments, I'm kind of far behind on them, but yeah, it's good to see you guys. Adam from the Half Inch Wrench Crew, good to see you. Tara, it's amazing to see you. And yeah, Sarah's in here. Let's see. Yeah, those sounds were chilling. I'm glad you were able to analyze them, Carter. When I heard those sounds, I was like, "That's not me." I do the same whoop every time. The whoop, real loud whoop. I know my call. The reason I do that is because I've done that call on the Merrimack River and at my old house, and it worked. At the Merrimack River, when I did that and I did some wood knocks, these things pushed over a tree, like a huge tree. Down on the river bottoms, the trees are ginormous. And when that tree fell, like you could feel the boom. I mean, it freaked me out. And I did not think Bigfoot, it just the tree falling. I was like, whoa, that's weird. Zero wind that day, beautiful, calm day. And then one screamed at us on our side of the river. When I say screamed, I'm not talking about a mountain lion or an owl screaming. Like an owl can do a screech that's pretty frightening, or a fox. Like a fox can sound like a dying witch, which is pretty freaky. No, this was like something off of Jurassic Park, like next level prehistoric, make you pee your pants. So I know there's a lot of skeptics out there that say, yeah, it was probably a fox. No, 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 no. I hear foxes all the time, and they sound pretty wicked. Foxes, bobcats, mountain lions, owls. They can sound, you know, freaky. But no, this is like different. When you hear this, it triggers a primal instinct that you never knew that you had. Like fire. Ooh, bad. Fire's bad. When you hear this kind of scream, it's freaky. Adam says, hit that like button and super chat is open. I appreciate that, Adam. I'm trying to go up to read some of the stuff you guys are saying. Yeah. Sarah says, well, it goes both ways. We are curious about them and they are curious about us. That is definitely true. And that was something that freaked me out. Like when I heard those vocalizations and the wood knocks, like they're around us the entire time, and we had no idea, other than hearing wood knocks and the vocalizations. The vocalizations, it sounded like it was a mile off, and you could still hear it pretty good. And the wood knock, I noticed the first wood knock. They did it when Adam threw his drone up in the air. I was like, oh, I heard a wood knock. And I told him, I was like, you need to check your recorder when you get home because there was a loud wood knock. Well, later on that trip, I had my drone up in the air and there was a loud wood knock. And there's a helpless feeling when you experience Bigfoot activity with an expensive drone in the air because you're just like, I heard that, but there's nothing I can do. I have to focus on this drone. And the best thing you can do is fly the drone over there and see what it is. And that's another thing. Like when we fly the drone, there was no Bigfoot, no strange heat signatures other than deer and little critters. But there's activity happening all around us. It's like, where are these things? Like the drones aren't picking anything up. This is the best time of year to operate a drone and like look for these things because there's no leaves on the trees. Dale says, he's asking, do you think dogs can see Bigfoot when they are invisible? Absolutely. I definitely think they can. And I've compared the dogs picking up Bigfoot activity like a dog in a haunted house. Like before paranormal activity happens, the dogs are growling the same way. They know like when something's going to happen. And I've experienced this because I've had extreme paranormal activity in an old haunted house that I lived in. And I want to talk about it, but my Siberian husky, he would know before something was going to happen. I'm like, why is this dog acting strange? And all of a sudden things start moving around. It's like, whoa, like he can see this stuff. He Dogs can see things that we can't, and that's just how it is. But if we're looking at it from a physical point of view, I think the dogs can smell them. They have bionic hearing. They have parabolic dishes on their head, so they're able to pick up on the activity. But Bigfoot is both spiritual and physical. I don't care what anyone says. I've experienced it, and that was my own theory from my own personal experiences. And I heard the Native Americans say they are physical creatures out there in the forest, but they're also supernatural. And that's like, yes, that's exactly what I came up with. That was my conclusion. To hear people say that the people of this land, the people who lived here, who camped out in the woods every single day of their lives, are saying this, you can't dismiss them. They know what they're talking about. That's for sure. Okay, sorry, I went on a rant there, but anyways, Chuck says, like the last show, great job, great capture. I live in Morgan County, Missouri. I've got stuff up here. What's your thoughts on infrasound and Bigfoot? Thanks again, great job. The infrasound, it's definitely pretty strange. I've heard people talk about it. I've never been hit by infrasound. The only thing I can think of is when I'm on that ridge on the campground at the killing fields, I feel like I can't breathe. I have extreme anxiety, and it's like I ran 8 miles. But I don't know if that's infrasound or something else going on. But yeah, Bigfoot can definitely produce infrasound, and so can many other animals on this planet. When I was in Minnesota, the beavers in the lakes, they do these tail slaps, and it was a loud slap, just thump, like really loud. And I was like, man, that kind of sounds like infrasound. So after the trip, I did some research on beavers slapping the water, and yeah, they can produce infrasound. Turkeys, when they're strutting around fields, they'll do something that's called drumming, and supposedly the drumming is infrasound. I've heard rabbits make a thumping sound on the ground. That's infrasound. When a deer hits the ground, it can produce infrasound. I've even heard armadillos do it. They can make that loud thump. But yeah, I think that's why the Tannerite works, because it creates some sort of what is it, EMP? I don't know, something. But it definitely works. Some guy did it on a research trip where a guy was having serious Bigfoot activity, and I was like, man, this guy's gonna screw up everything. Like he's gonna scare everything out of the area. This is not gonna work. This is stupid. For one, you're shooting guns, you're shooting Tannerite, and you're cutting down trees. He had his chainsaw, he's cutting down trees. I'm like, he's doing everything that's gonna scare off the Sasquatch if they are around. And that night they showed up. Everybody's eyes were bugging out of their head. Everyone was scared. The dogs, they warned us before the Sasquatch started wood knocking. Before we knew they were there, they were showing their teeth. Or his dog, he had a little wiener dog, and yeah, Lulu was just showing her teeth, growling, and she woke up out of like a dead sleep and just started like sticking her head out. And Steve's like looking like, that's weird. And yeah, they showed up, but I don't know why it works, but it does. I've heard somebody say that fireworks work as well. Yeah, let's see. I'm trying to catch up on the comments. Paranormal discussing. Oh, for some reason, some of the comments just disappeared. So they showed up out of curiosity. Yeah, they live off curiosity. I mean, we're their entertainment, and if we're in their territory, they're definitely going to go check it out. Um, let's see, Miguel, how is your previous guest where you stayed in a haunted cabin? I believe he had an Indian chief roaming around. Would you go back there? Well, he ended up passing away 2 weeks after that video. He was in a head-on collision and hit somebody going like 70 or 80 miles an hour. He did not make it, and the people that he hit a lady in a Jeep who had little kids, and they were all severely injured. So no, I won't be going back there, and it's unfortunate. But yeah, it's awful. Yeah, another thing that we experienced at the killing fields were the orbs. Me and Adam, we were trying to film it. I mean, we had our cameras out, and we're like, "Oh, we just saw an orb. We just saw another orb," and our cameras just cannot reach that far. The fields are very deceiving. They are ginormous. They don't look like it on camera until you start walking through those fields, and the field of view is just too far off for the night vision to pick anything up. And the only thing I thought was I'm going to set my camera up on time lapse mode, and I really didn't expect much. I didn't expect to catch too much activity, and I did. I captured the orbs, and they seem to like turn on and stay on the entire night. And Adam knows for sure. Like Adam's been there. There is no houses over there, like on that side of the property. Zero houses and zero light pollution. So it was definitely the orbs. Let's see what else happened. Yeah, there was another time we were sitting at the camp and we heard something super loud. It sounded like a tree being pushed over. And I told Adam, maybe it's somebody like driving through the state park with like a big metal trailer, like bouncing on like the potholes and on the roads. And it definitely frightened us, but I knew for sure that it wasn't when I reviewed the audio. I was like, oh my gosh, that's a huge tree being pushed over. And it was exactly like what I experienced at my place. I don't know if you guys watched that. I camped during Christmas Eve and Christmas. And I told you guys, like, this thing just started wood knocking and then it just crushed a huge tree. That's exactly what I recorded at the killing fields, which was really, really dang cool. Ooh, thank you for the super thanks. Is it called a thanks or a super thanks? I'm not really sure. Now, something did kill a mini donkey, neck broken. I have no clue what did it, since there was both Bigfoot and Dogman around the area. Plus, it was during winter and the ground was frozen, so no prints. Well, if you got both, you definitely know that a cryptid creature did it. And I'm sorry to hear about that. Mini donkeys are so darn cute. All right, here's another thanks. Sorry, I'm having a hard time keeping up with all these comments, but I'm gonna do my best. Keep up the awesome work, Miguel. Seems like the current river area is a hot spot. Heard stories as a kid. Yeah, the entire area is just hot. I mean, all the way south of like I-44, going through Stillville. Yeah, all the way down into Arkansas. It's just Bigfoot activity all over the place. Now, when I say all over the place, that doesn't mean you'll ever experience Bigfoot activity in your life, but they're around. Like when you hear the reports, like the dots are everywhere. But I don't know, the activity is few and far between. You definitely have to spend a lot of time out there just to hear a wood knock or to experience something significant. Okay. Tara says, nice work as always. Thanks for the live. Hit up the like button. Yeah, definitely. I appreciate it, Tara. Hey, Morgan. Hey, Tyler. You're doing good. I don't think I'm doing good, but I'm trying to do my best. There's a lot going on here. I appreciate everyone's support. And one thing I am trying to do, and I'm not asking for anyone's money. I'm trying to do more work. I'm doing this live show so I can raise some money for an audio project that I have going on. These Olympus recorders, they're not working very well. They'll only work for about 2.5 days out in the field, and I need like a month to 3 months worth of audio. So I'm going to put together a team of people to review audio that I record, and I'm gonna try to buy some fancy audio recorders that can be out there for a long time to capture this activity. Because, like I said, earlier in the year, I think it was July, when I was out there with Jansen and her grandparents, we heard those vocalizations all the way till now. So these things are active in the area, and when they're active, you gotta hit it hard because they could disappear for a few months or a few years, but they always come back. I do know that. I noticed that out at my friend Bill's place, like they were hot and then they weren't. So you gotta do what you can while they're around. I noticed that at my place as well. It's like, wow, these things are everywhere. There's all kinds of stuff going on. And once they disappear, it's like they never existed. Somebody said donkeys don't back down. That's right. I'm pretty sure people get donkeys to protect the cattle or like to protect the farm from coyotes. Like a donkey will take out a coyote or a whole um, group of coyotes. All right. Let's see. What do we got here? Does anyone have any questions about Bigfoot activity or the killing fields? All right. So yeah, there's another thing that happened that I noticed, and it actually happened 2 different times. One time, Adam dumped out a bunch of food, on a stump behind the campground, and we noticed these 2 rocks on the stump, and I was like, or 3 rocks. We think it meant Miguel, David, and Adam because there's 3 rocks, and it was only us 3 up there, and that was pretty strange. Also, on another stump at the campground, I left a bunch of rocks and little toys and magnets, things that I feel would create curiosity. Well, when I went back up there, I noticed these 2 flint rocks there, same white rocks that Adam found on the other stump. And I asked David, I was like, hey, did you put those rocks on that stump? He said, no. It's like, what about your son? He was up here hunting at the campground. He said, no, he wouldn't have done that. So we think it was them acknowledging our presence, and which was pretty strange because there's 2 rocks the last time, and it was David's son hunting up there and his friend. So 2 people. Any power lines near the killing fields, that's a big negative, but there is a ton of forest and a lot of waterways. So we think that's the main reason. Like what David said in the first documentary, if you watched David's story, he talked to, I think it was DNR, I don't know, some wildlife forest service, but they said these things exist and they have evidence of them. They've been feeding them and they got pictures of them or photos of them. So they're well aware of them. At least some people are. I don't think every single conservation agent, game warden, um, forest ranger knows about them. Just the people that have taken reports and have dealt with things personally from loggers. I don't think every single person in the government knows about these things. Ever investigated Georgia? I have. What was it? Chattahoochee. I think it was that Chattahoochee National Forest. I went to Blue Ridge, the Sasquatch Expedition Museum. But yeah, there I did have an experience in Georgia. So when I was in Georgia, we explored a little bit, and as soon as we got out of the car, it smelled like death, like the most awful smell I've ever smelled in my life. And I was like, maybe somebody threw out like a bunch of fish and it's like rotten, or there's like a dead deer. And we investigated, we looked all around, there was nothing dead. I don't know what it was, but that was my only strange experience in Georgia. And Georgia was really cool. Like when you see those mountains, it's like, whoa, those mountains are huge. A picture or a photo doesn't do justice. Like the Georgia mountains are ginormous. You guys probably asked questions and I was too busy talking. I apologize. I don't know if this thing's on. I'm sorry. Okay. The government is trying to weaponize portals. Could be. Is that what CERN's all about? Is that what's going on at Area 51? Possibly. All right. Alabama Cryptid Experience says, Miguel, you are more than welcome to come to Alabama and check out our spot in the Sipsey Wilderness. Okay. That sounds like fun. I'm always down for a new adventure. Sarah is asking, yes, what is their favorite gifts? Why don't they accept the dead hog that the guy killed recently? I think their favorite gifts is peanut butter, chocolate, and apples. My mind went blank, so I don't know about the dead hog. Can you elaborate on that? Maybe I'm forgetting something. I've been known to forget things. Why do you believe what do you believe is the most efficient method when making contact? The most efficient method for making contact is camping in a Bigfoot hotspot area and just spending a lot of time there. And they'll approach you. And I've noticed, like, the logical person would say, if you want to find Bigfoot, you need to go out there at night and you need to walk around as much as possible, cover as much ground as possible. But for me, that has not worked because these things are elusive, and there's a reason for that. When you're walking through the forest, it makes so much sound. You're crunching on the leaves and sticks, and it's just hard to navigate. You're pretty much you're telling them that you're coming through the forest, and they can hear you from miles away, and they want to have control. Like, these things want to be in control, so they're going to approach your camp. And it takes a lot of research. Like, you might go out there for 4 or 5 days and only hear a wood knock, but over time, as you do that, it's like, okay, this day I had a wood knock, this day they were pushing over trees, on this camping trip something was paralleling me through the woods. And over time, you're going to be like, okay, I see what's going on here. But if you only go out there for a few days and say no Bigfoot, then that's all it's going to be, is no Bigfoot. It takes a lot of work, and it's kind of demoralizing. And after a while, you don't really want to go back because there's not a whole lot going on. But it just takes one time, and you go back the next time. Maybe after a year of doing this consistently, it just takes that one time, and it's like, whoa, there is something serious going on here. And I don't know. It's up to them, really. They have to decide if they want to make contact, and you just have to be there. That's the best method, is you have to be there. And I hear a lot of hunters say, a lot of people that go camping, I've camped out there for 2 weeks, I didn't experience anything, I've been hunting my entire life. It's like, well, that's all it is. You just didn't experience anything. That's normal. I mean, that's the norm. If everyone was experiencing something, then it wouldn't be such a big mystery. Thank you guys for the thanks, by the way. Thank you, Warrior Flight. Wow, I'm blown away. I can't believe that. You guys are truly amazing. All right, I'm looking for questions. No, Barry, I've never read it. And yeah, greetings. Edith, good to see you. Yeah, somebody said you need to be a good person if you want to be approached. And that is true. Like, if you have bad intentions or you've done things in your life that you have no remorse for, these things won't approach you. If you're a really dominant person, they don't really care for that. They look for kindness and gentle people. I spoke to a primatologist, and she said the same thing. She said, I studied gorillas, and it seemed like they had like a supernatural ability. It took me a long time for them to warm up with me. And she said the adults warmed up with me first, and then the little ones. But she said what was strange was I got to know this group of gorillas. And when I went to a completely different zoo, it was like the gorillas there already knew who I was, and they approached me immediately. Like, there was all kinds of people there, but they went up to her. And I know a lot of people say Bigfoot's not a primate, but they're a human. They're a people. But you got to remember, humans are primates, and we're all classified. We're all in the same category. But yeah, it's definitely strange that primates can do that. She also said that, like, the primates, they could tell, like, when she was sad, like if she was going through something, like, they were like, I don't know. She said that the big gorilla went up to the window and wanted her to, like, put her head on on his shoulders, which is weird. These things can Bigfoot can do the same thing. Like they know if something's wrong with you. They know if you have bad intentions. And you can just look at a dog. Like if somebody walks into your house who's an a-hole, like your dog's gonna be like, I don't trust that guy. How do dogs know that? I don't know. They have instincts that we don't understand. I think Yowie would be nice to everyone though. You could be like the most dangerous person in the world, and he's gonna be like, "Hey, what's up?" Do you believe Bigfoot uses portals? Yeah, I definitely do. There's got to be something that's going on, and there's a reason why there's this secrecy going on within the government. And that little juvenile that I encountered when he hid behind that tree, he just disappeared. Like no there was nothing there. Like when he hid behind the tree, it was like a magic trick. There was another juvenile that I encountered shortly after that, and basically, I was walking down a trail, I was sneaking down a trail, and then I heard this loud grunt, just loud grunt. It sounded like a big old nasty buck in the rut or like a big black bear. But when I looked over, I saw this brown figure, probably about 4 or 5 feet high or tall, and, it looked like he just disappeared, like somebody threw sand up in the air. But, yeah, I didn't believe in the cloaking, but that changed my mind. Miguel, I hope you're well. It's nice to see you live from you. Your videos are always interesting. Good luck. Love the camping setup you have. Thank you, Kelly. Yeah, I'm not a primate either, but that's what science categorizes it as. Humans are primate species. But there's similarities with Bigfoot and humans. Like we can't deny that. And when I look into the eyes of like a gorilla or a chimp, like you can see intelligence. They're not stupid. Do you think the Bigfoot activity in the Ozarks correlates to all the cave systems in the area? I think it's possible for sure. Yeah, another strange thing is like the supernatural stuff that's happening. I've talked to a lot of like Bigfoot researchers that, they only talk about tracks and eye sightings and hairs being found, audio recordings. But like, if you talk to them behind the scenes, like, hey, why do you guys only like make this sound like it's an unknown primate? They're like, oh, that's because we don't want to be ridiculed. But yeah, there's definitely stuff going on out there that people can't explain as far as orbs, people being followed home miles away. And these are big researchers. But yeah, some of these people have, careers and they don't want to ruin it. Like, yeah, the public already knows they do Bigfoot research, but people don't want to completely tarnish their reputation. As far as me, I don't care what people think. Like, there's something supernatural going on with it. And yeah, unfortunately talking about that on YouTube, you get taken down to the bottom. I think my channel was doing a lot better when I just, said, there's undiscovered creatures out in the woods, it's something that people just don't know about. Like, yeah, your channel does better. But I have to talk about what I've seen because that's just how it is. But yeah, here's something that I thought about, and maybe you guys will think it's interesting. And I don't want to step on anyone's toes, but when the settlers first came here, I wonder if people would go missing, like if their children would go missing and they would blame it on the Native Americans. I'm not saying that's what happened, but what if? Like, what if the Sasquatch abducted kids and the natives got blamed for it? Like it must have been the natives. Let's go after them. It's their fault. I don't know. Is that possible? Could be. Because, like, if you're experiencing, like, loud footsteps, something paralleling you in the woods, knocking sounds, it's like, "Oh, man, we're being surrounded by natives, like, we're about to be attacked." So maybe the some of that blame could have been placed on the Native Americans when it was just the Sasquatch messing with people, stalking people. What do you guys think? You can tell me if I'm an idiot. I'll handle it pretty well. Yeah, the blame went back and forth. Unfortunately, things were not handled properly. But yeah, David told me after the trip, he said, Miguel, I've heard strange sounds because David has a hard time sleeping and he'll get up like at 1 or 2 in the morning and just sit on his front porch. But he said, Miguel, I've heard the strangest sounds from 2 a.m. to 4 a.m. He said early in the morning when there's no one around. He said those vocalizations that you guys have recorded, he's like, I hear those all the time. I believe him. I definitely believe him. Um, let's see what. Oh yeah, so one of the recorders out in the park, it turned on at like 5:30 p.m. But one of the recorders, as soon as it turned on, there was 2 loud knocks, not back to back, like one loud knock and then 5 to 10 minutes later, another loud knock. And in that video, I called them power knocks at night. That happened as soon as my audio recorder turned on, which there would be no one out there shooting, especially in the park at nighttime. There was just us, like we were the only crazy people shooting. And we only shot twice, once in the evening and then once at like 11 at night. And that was the Tannerite. There wasn't multiple shots at the Tannerite, like it was hit with precision. Yeah, I definitely believe David too. He he's experienced a lot of activity. He lives in the best area to experience Bigfoot activity. He's so blessed. That farm is truly amazing, and I enjoy being out there. I feel alive when I'm out there, honestly. Anywhere in the forest. Do you think they form thoughts about certain people like you and Adam? Opinions, maybe? I'm sure they do. I am sure they do. And me and David talked about this last time. I'm like, man, this past year, I've been getting a lot of activity at your place. And David said, he's like, I think they're finally warming up to you. But my theory is, I I think I finally took them off. I think they finally had it. Who knows? Like, are they warming up to me or are they finally like, okay, we're done with this guy? They know you. Yeah, I think they do know me. I've been going there for several years now. You're brave going by yourself. I don't think so. You know who is brave? The people who fight for this country, people in the military, law enforcement, and I don't know, all kinds of people, but not me. I go out there because I just enjoy nature and I enjoy doing Sasquatch research. And you guys should have seen it. Like I was dead tired that evening and we were sitting around the fire. Like I was pretty much like a zombie. And that the Sasquatch vocalized, and you can ask Adam, it was like I got shot with adrenaline. Like I was running around for like 4 or 6 hours after that. And yeah, I live for that. I don't feel like I'm brave. Um I'm scared, honestly, when I'm out there. Like, I don't know what to tell you guys. Freaks me out. It seems like I'm brave. I edit out all the parts where I'm actually scared and peed my pants. Okay. Mr. Duffy81 says, I found structures in the woods built on big trees when there is no wind. And all of a sudden, in the tree starts making a creaking sound. So yeah, definitely the structures are a form of communication and they're talking. The forest speaks. Let's see. Highly vulnerable state of heightened awareness. Yeah, I agree. Like when the Sasquatch are around, like you're definitely on High alert. Okay, so my friend Chris is in the chat. We camped with him in Minnesota, and the last trip at the killing fields is very comparable to what happened in Minnesota. Like, we drive down this state forest road, we get out of the vehicle, and it sounds like a baby's crying out in the woods or a dog's whimpering. That's what it was. Somebody's puppy was out there, and we're talking about miles out in the middle of nowhere. And then the crazy thing is when that thing was whining like a puppy, boom, like it shot down like 75 yards away. It's like it teleported somewhere else. And I've experienced that with vocalizations out in the woods when the Bigfoot are vocalizing. It's like they'll vocalize miles away, and the next time they vocalize, they're like 100 yards in the woods. And then the next time they're right there by camp. And then the next time they're miles back again, that same vocalization. It's like, how did that thing move so far away? Definitely strange. Forest Ghost Files, thank you so much for the thanks. Funds for long duration recorders. Keep up the amazing work. Happy hunting. And I appreciate that. I will be getting those recorders soon. I'll have to test them out for a while, but I have to get them out there on David's property as soon as possible. And like I said, I'm going to find like 2 or 3 people who will help me review the audio, and I'll show you guys how to use the editing software, the audio software. I was thinking about asking Sarah in the comments, but I don't know. She's probably busy. But I'm wanting to ask people that I can trust not to file away things that they find and keep them for themselves. Like, you have to trust the people you're working with. How do you sleep well knowing you are in Sasquatch territory in your tent? Oh, I sleep like a baby. I do, because I'm running around everywhere and I'm just dead tired by the time it's time to go to bed. But I don't know how I sleep so well, because if I'm stressed, I can't sleep at all. So, like I said, when I'm out in the woods, I feel alive and I'm in my comfort zone. I've been told that I'm autistic by people through my life. I don't know. I've never been diagnosed. It could be why. Um, I like to be alone in solitude, and I enjoy nature. And it's really hard for me to like interact and communicate with people. But I don't know. I don't know. I honestly don't know. You don't get scared, Miguel. Chris said I don't get scared. Yeah, I'm kind of brave. No, I've just been doing this for a long time that I've gotten to the point where I don't give a crap. Like, I want to experience activity. And there was incident. Remember earlier in the live show where I was telling you that the guy was shooting Tannerite and he was cutting down trees, and I was like, this is stupid. This is never going to work. When the Sasquatch showed up, they surrounded his property, and there was 3 of them, and they're wood knocking, like power knocks in the woods, breaking branches, pushing over trees. I walked up to that Sasquatch. He was in the woods, and I was in the yard, like the very edge of the yard, the border of the yard and the woods, and he was right there in the woods, and I was right there in the woods. I stood face to face with him for a little over an hour. He would knock in front of me. And I can say this for sure. There's no researcher that I know knock that close. He pushed over a tree right in front of me too. Like, it was going to fall on me, but it didn't. It was a strange situation, but I don't know. I wasn't scared. But there's been other times that they've come out and I'm like, I don't want to have anything to do with this. And I was scared. You just have to be in the right mindset. Let's see. What else is people? What are you guys saying here? Sorry, I've been talking. What brand of recorder are you looking to buy? I don't want to give away my secrets, but I also want to see people succeed. So I'm looking at a company called Wildlife Acoustics, and they make different recorders that can be out there for 1,700 hours at a time, depending on the weather and the batteries that you're using. So that's months and months of audio, and it's going to be too much to go through all that, but it has to be done. That's the only way to really do research. Okay. But yeah, look them up, Wildlife Acoustics. They make recorders for scientists, for the Forest Service, and people who are dedicated, like wilderness enthusiasts. Hello from Northern Ontario, Canada. Have you ever heard the baby crying sounds in the killing fields? No, I haven't. I don't think I have. I heard that in Minnesota. But yeah, back to Minnesota, like there was all kinds of activity. They were pushing over trees. We heard wood knocks, the thumps. Like when they ground stomp, I don't know if they're hitting the ground with their hand, jumping out of a tree, stomping the ground with their foot, but I feel like it creates infrasound. Like you can feel it. Boom. And one cool thing was I looked over at Chris and I was like, "Here, check this out." And I grabbed two rocks and I was like, "Clack, clack, 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 clack," and one rock clacked back. And he's like, "What?" And I was like, "Yeah, did you hear that?" It was cool because he was right there. But yeah, similar situation to the killing fields, and um, it blew my mind. I think I'm marked by these creatures and they're attracted to me. So if you guys want to experience Bigfoot activity, you have to come out there with me. No, that sounds conceited, but for some reason they do like me. I've noticed when I go out to state forests, um, or state parks, like the Sasquatch will wood knock, like they'll communicate with me. And as soon as somebody shows up, for example, the Ozark Man, as soon as he shows up, everything stops. Like nothing happens. And we'll be out there the rest of the evening during the night when it's supposed to be spooky, walking through the woods and nothing happens. So like why is it when it's just me, they communicate, and when other people show up, they stop? I don't know. Do you think they will ever try to interact with us one on one up close? Yeah, yeah, I definitely do. There was a guy that I interviewed from Massachusetts. His name was Ernie, and he was hunting, and he saw one of these things. Like it stood right there in front of him in language like this. It showed like I don't know. It was doing like hand gestures, like pointing at himself, pointing at him. There was another guy from Virginia that I interviewed, and me and Sarah were actually talking about this the other day. The guy was camping in the Roaring Plains area, I think it's what it's called, but a Sasquatch came into his campground, like where he had his tent, and it interacted with him like the entire evening and the entire night. Like it got to the point to where this guy was kind of annoyed a little bit by this thing, and it ended up coming back out later on. I can't remember if it was at a different campsite, but yeah, people have interacted with these things. There was a lady that I interviewed from Oregon. They were having a picnic in a national forest, and the Sasquatch came out to the picnic table and just started eating the food off the picnic table. They got in the vehicle and they said they were scared to death, like they were terrified. Do you think they're involved in the missing 411 like some suspect? I think so. I think some people have went missing, and it's hard to say if everyone on the missing 411 is even due to a cryptid creature. And somebody had a good point about that in the comments. They said that he never talks about when the person was found. Like there are people that have been on his show that have been found, and he never like brings that up, which I'm not trying to like downplay what he's doing. He's definitely doing a good thing. But no, my point is not everybody that goes missing, it's not Bigfoot being involved. Do you think Sasquatch has, or do you think Arkansas has Sasquatch sightings? Yeah, yeah. You gotta listen to the channel. But I get most of my reports from states like Arkansas, Tennessee, North Carolina, Kentucky. Arkansas has a lot of reports on my channel, and yeah, it's definitely a hot spot. Bonnie says, "I think you get the activity when you are by yourself. Is the Sasquatch know that you are not there to harm them?" I think so. I think they can read your intentions, and like I said earlier, that primatologist said the same thing about gorillas. They can read people's intentions, and I'm not saying Bigfoot is a primate or is a gorilla, but there's a comparison there. There's people that are empaths. Like when somebody walks into a room and they have a lot on their mind and things going on, there's certain people that automatically know. Guys, ask your wives. They know. They know something's wrong. Yeah, there are Sasquatch sightings in Mexico, and I can't remember what they're called, El Duende or something like that, but they have different names down there too. When I drove through Mexico, through Monterrey, there was huge mountains there, and I'm like, "There's gotta be Sasquatch up there." Yeah, I think they could be connected with the Nephilim for sure. Let's see, what else do we wanna talk about? Do you guys wanna see another research trip at the killing field soon? I think it's important to go back. What are your guys' thoughts about that, and do you guys have any tactics that you would like me to try? Yeah, Frank said, "Hey, Miguel, nice seeing you. Mom sent me a recording and said that's exactly what she heard." Yeah. Yeah, I've actually heard that vocalization before in the past, what I recorded, and it's pretty cool. You can definitely tell it's very apish, very human-like. Somebody said it was a train. Adam, if you're still in the chat, there are no train tracks there, are there? Like, somebody said the vocalizations I capture, it was a train. I'm like, "What?" I'd take person before that. Like, you can just say it was a person. Maybe say it was me out there, but a train? Really? Alright. El Duende is little people, like little gnome or goblins. Yeah, that could be true. Yeah, you got a good point there. Little people freak me out. Yeah, little people's a big thing. Like, we don't hear much about it in our areas, but once you go up north, everyone's talking about little people. They're like, "Oh yeah, the little people, little people." That's how it was when I went to Alaska. People were like, "Yeah, little people, it's real." Like, no joke. Like, okay. And they're like, "Don't talk about it." That's what my friend Chris said in Minnesota. He's like, "Yeah, they're here. Don't talk about it." My friend in Oklahoma, she said the same thing. She's like, "I don't want to talk about it. Don't talk about it." Like, all right, fair enough. Thank you, Sass Saga. Thoughts on Scott Carpenter? I think Scott Carpenter had a lot of Bigfoot activity going on, and it's sad that he's not with us anymore. I've spoken to people on the channel who met Scott Carpenter that were having a lot of activity, who met him, and they called Scott Carpenter and they found out he only lived 10 minutes down the road. They're like, "Whoa, we're having all kinds of stuff happening in our place." Some of the stuff he filmed, I think, was pareidolia, but he had some stuff that was really interesting for sure. Yes, William from Virginia, from the Roaring Plains area. He had some serious stuff going on there. He's the one that interacted with the Sasquatch. Can you imagine a Sasquatch hanging out at your camp? Like, I would probably freak out. I'm there to do Bigfoot research, but if that happened to me, I personally do not know how I would react. Yeah, that night that I was walking back up to my camp and I saw those eyes, that was freaky. And, it definitely wasn't an owl. A lot of people said that's just an owl, but I was there. You could hear the footsteps in the leaves when this thing moved. Like, that owl would have to be way up there, and his feet would have to be, like, 10 feet below him. So, definitely not an owl. I'm crossing that off the list. It seemed like it was high up because I'm on a hill and this thing's on another hill. So 2 hills facing each other. So he seems like the eyes seem like they're really high up, but can I say it was Bigfoot? No. Was it freaky? Yeah. One thing that makes me believe it was Bigfoot is when I went back to my camp, there was wood knocks, and there weren't loud, violent, powerful wood knocks. It was more like somebody knocking on your door lightly, but out in the woods and around my camp. It was weird. I think these things, I think the Sasquatch like to play psychological warfare on people. They get some sort of kick off of it, and they like to manipulate their environment. Miguel, what are your thoughts on a possible connection to Sasquatch investigators and cancer? I feel like if they are interdimensional, you're definitely going to get something you wish you didn't. People have claimed to get cancer after like seeing a UFO up close because of the radiation. But I've also interviewed a lot of guests in the past who had Bigfoot on their property and a lot of activity taking place, and coincidentally, they got cancer. It wasn't just one or two people either. There's a lot of people that have experienced Bigfoot activity that are getting cancer. But yeah, Adam said, "Are we going to Adams Mountain soon?" Is that Adams Mountain? Yeah, I was actually thinking about that all day today. I've been watching. I'm not sure how to say it. Salish Bigfoot, but I love her videos. You guys check out her channel, and I just like watching her research videos. Like the people that she groups up with, they have some really good techniques. Their methods are very close to ours, and I like watching it because it's legitimate research. It's not junk research and calling every single thing Bigfoot. Like if you want to do real research, you have to have like a recorder, a tape measure, a video camera. You have to be able to document things because I mean there are other forms of research, but I don't do it. Like to go out there and sit out there and just meditate or just talk to them. A lot of people say don't bring out your camera if you want to experience these things. Like that's fine, but if you want to research things, you got to have the cameras. But yeah, another good channel that I really like watching is Mountain Beast Mysteries. I watched Mountain Beast Mysteries before I ever even had a Bigfoot sighting, and I've always been into Justin's videos. And after I experienced the activity, started researching, found things on my own that I've never seen on other videos, I'd watch his videos and he'd find the exact same things. Like there's definitely a connection there. So whatever's going on in Alberta, Canada, is the same thing that's taking place out here in the Ozarks. So definitely check out Mountain Beast Mysteries and Salish Bigfoot. Really good, credible people, good channels. Any telepathic words or info ever come to you? No, I haven't had any of that happen, but thank you for the thanks. I've had strange experiences where I'm like, "Huh, I haven't heard a wood knock." And pow, I hear a loud wood knock. It's like, "Whoa," it's like they knew what I was thinking. And there was a night where the Sasquatch showed up around my property and I had the spotlight, like I lit them all up. All I could see was eye shine. I thought to myself, that's got to be deer because the eyes were bobbing back and forth. And as soon as I thought that has to be deer, one of the sets of eyes rose up like an elevator. Like I would say 12 feet, give or take. And it was more give, like higher up than 12 feet. I say 12 feet just because, but I think it was taller. I often hear people say they only get that big in Alaska, and that's not true. Like there are some giants out here. I'm telling you guys, there's some giants out here. A lot of the Sasquatch that people see in the lower 48 are just females and juveniles. The big males, you got to think they're super intelligent. They're smart. They know how to hide, and you won't see them unless they want you to. My new property has not had any activity. When I first moved here, I heard a strange vocalization in the woods, and I don't know what it was, but that's the only thing I've experienced. Yeah, I wish I lived further out in the woods. Hey, Shelby, how you doing, buddy? Good to see you. I don't know why Adam's brother Shelby. Every time I see him, like it just makes me happy. Like he's a peaceful person. Adam says the juvie are not as smart yet. Yeah, exactly. Like we're talking about a big male Sasquatch. Like their head is as big as round as like a full size pine tree. Like you're talking about serious intelligence there. They're the clan leader. Do you think about Florida? Where have you seen or have you heard of Florida sightings? Yep, I've taken reports on my channel. You'll have to email me and I'll shoot you some links, but I'm not sure how to say it. The Ocala National Forest, there's been a lot of reports from there. I've never been to Florida, but I want to go. What do you guys think is the best thing to gift the Sasquatch? Whether it's food or items, what do you think would create a lot of curiosity? Let's hear it. Yeah, your vibe attracts the tribe. For real though, like I said earlier, like the Sasquatch are attracted to certain people. I don't know why that is. Definitely women and children and kind-hearted, soft-spoken people who like to be isolated. People that like to isolate themselves. Or people who are sick, going through some sort of illness or mental cloud in their life, like a mental storm. Welcome to Sasquatch Theory, members. Heck yeah. Always good to see my members. Um, Cat ball glow sticks. Oh, that's a good one. Rubik's cube. Yeah, that would be another good one. Lights and just camping out and not thinking about them. That's true. Dry lime beans. I was thinking about pickled herring. What do you guys think about that? It's kind of stinky. Yeah. Bigfoot Society says trauma. For some reason, these things are attracted to trauma. And I talked about that earlier with the primatologists, like the gorillas. They were able to sense when something was wrong with with the person that I spoke with. Like they could tell. There's a video on YouTube where these people are in Africa and the chimpanzee goes up to the primatologist, the primate experts, and she has her little baby in her hand and she hands it to the primatologist and the baby's super sick. Like the baby's going to die, the little chimpanzee baby. And they said they took it back to their facility and they brought this little chimpanzee back to life. And finally, when the little chimp was good again, they took the little chimp back out there, and all of the chimps, they were super happy and they were excited to see their loved one again. But it's like she knew, like, this is my baby's last chance. Take him. For a chimpanzee to do that, that's rare. And they know it's like these people will be able to help my baby. My baby. Do you believe they are responsible for early deaths of some researchers? Linda Godfrey, Scott Carpenter, etc. I don't know. That's a really good question, Evan. It could be possible. I often wonder the people. I think it was last winter they got lost in Washington, or maybe it was Oregon. The two researchers that froze to death. You got to wonder. I'm not really sure, but there's a lot of hunters that go missing around here, and people suspect that it's the Sasquatch. Sasquatch is probably like, oh man, they're blaming us again. It's dog man. It really could be. All right. Yeah, having women and kids around. Jeremiah is in the house. If you guys can check out the Bigfoot Society, a really good, credible channel. And Jeremiah, he's a hustler. He's always taking Bigfoot reports. Carrie Arnold too. Yeah, that makes me wonder. I mean, I've heard rumors that maybe the shadow government had something to do with that. I don't want to say too much because you know it's hard just to think about that, but to speculate, I don't know. I feel kind of rude doing that, but I do wonder. Man, I try to read a comment and then like more comments come through and like it pushes it up to the top and then I can't find it. All right, what is your guys' all-time favorite research video that I've done, or any video that I've done? What is your guys' favorite video? Like, what's the most memorable thing that you've heard on Sasquatch theory? Yeah, Dizzy. Dogman freaks me out. Yeah, golf balls does work. Gifting golf balls definitely works. I've done that before, and they'll go missing, disappear, reappear. My favorite thing is peanut butter. For some reason, I've had the best luck with peanut butter, and it just seems to work the best. They'd always take the lids off, like unscrew the lids, leave the lids on the stump, and take the peanut butter. I don't think a raccoon's going to do that. Not unscrew the lids, maybe chew them off and you'd find pieces here and there, but, like, to unscrew the lids and leave them right next to each other, yeah, they love peanut butter. I love peanut butter too. Yeah, the Killing Fields videos are the best. A lot of people seem to like them. Hey, Mark. Big shout out to Mark and his daughter. I appreciate them. Mark took me out for dinner one day, and it was really cool hanging out with them. Mark's had some really cool experiences by the Lake Wapapello area. You know, there's a video. I'll have to send that to you, Mark. But there's a video where they talk about why they flooded, why they dammed up all the rivers and flooded all these areas in Missouri, and it was to hide like the caves, the ancient civilizations where the giants used to live. And it's a really cool video. I'll have to send that to you. But definitely like Lake of the Ozarks, Bull Shoals, Lake Wapapello, Table Rock Lake, all the places that have had Bigfoot activity, they flooded those areas to hide something big. So all these lakes around North America, like Bagnell Dam, there's something huge under there. They're hiding something. I don't know. Maybe. Gosh, who doesn't love peanut butter? I know. I just eat spoonfuls of it at night. I'm like, like binge eat peanut butter. No wonder the Sasquatch like it. Do you think there are opposing Sasquatch groups or like serial killer Sasquatch that kill members of their own? Oh, yeah, absolutely. The same way there are people who kill people like psychopaths out there, there are psychopathic Sasquatch. That's no joke. So, the same way there's bad people, there's some bad Sasquatch that you don't want to mess with. Like there was this story where Sasquatch was just throwing like dead goats at somebody's house. It would kill the goats and it was just throwing them at the person's house. Yeah, freaky. Trail of Tears. Yeah, I agree, Mark. If you could go anywhere in the world to research, where would you go? I would go. I mean, I definitely want to go to Colorado and Washington State, but I live in the best area to do Bigfoot research. And here's why: because there's a lot of flat land around here, and the Ozark Mountains aren't that hard to look through. I mean, they'll definitely tire you out. But when I went to South Carolina or Alaska, like it's really darn hard to walk up and down those mountains, like extremely difficult. So I found that Missouri is the easiest place to do Bigfoot research. It's my favorite place. You can actually look around. Like I'm not in the swamps of Louisiana or Florida with alligators, and you have to go through all these swamps to get to the Sasquatch. Like Missouri is the most forgiving state that I've found to do Bigfoot research. All right. Hawks soaring. I've heard they have areas where they send the bad ones, ones that break their laws or ways. Yeah. Yeah, I've heard the same. Like I think when one is out of line and does something horrible, they kick them out. and people run into these rogue Sasquatch. I don't know if I have. I mean, I've been paralleled out of the woods. Maybe that was a rogue, but I feel like that's typical activity. People will say they escorted you out of the area. I don't know about escorted. I think I was being stalked. Definitely didn't feel like they were just like saying, "Hey, you have to leave now." It was more like, "Hey, I'm gonna eat you if you don't get out of here." I don't know. It didn't feel friendly. Yeah, Texas would be another good state. It'd be very comparable to Missouri. Same with Arkansas. Appalachian Mountains have multiple different ecosystems and rainforests. Really good point. That's true. That's true. I'm not trying to downplay other states. I'm just saying from where I've been, it's been really easy to do research. Not easy, but I'm saying like when I was in South Carolina, like I was going down the mountain, it was like I was doing everything I could not to slide down the mountain, and my knees and my ankles hurt really bad. Joe Cassie Lake, yeah, that place was rough. That's where I was talking about, the mountains around Joe Cassie Lake. It was hard to walk through there. Definitely a Bigfoot area, and as I was walking up the mountain, it's like it never ended. We never got to the top. We walked for hours and hours. There was a waterfall back there that was really pretty, and I think the trail where the waterfall is, it goes into North Carolina, which was really cool. Too hot down south, too many venomous snakes for me. Yeah. Yeah, Chris is from up north. He wears a t-shirt when it's 20 degrees outside. Yeah, hiking in Colorado is no joke. I've been there. The new Sasquatch gear that I'm wanting to get, like I said, the audio recorders, they're stupid expensive, like way too much money. Like it's not worth it. But it's the only thing that can do what I need. Like that's the only recorder that will be able to work for what I'm trying to do. But the other piece of gear, I can't tell you guys. I can't tell you what it is, but it's something really good. I'll have to tell you. Um, I'll have to tell you guys later. It's gonna blow your minds. Mount Hood National Forest is the best area I've ever been to so far. So wild. Yeah, I watched your video when you were in Oregon. It definitely looked like a really good place. Yeah, that's Bigfoot country. When people think of Bigfoot, they think of the Pacific Northwest. When I think of Bigfoot, I think of Canada. Have you guys ever gone on Google Earth and just looked at the forest in Canada? It blows my mind. Like it's insane. Same with like Siberia or Russia. It's like what? What? That's why there's so many sightings in the lower 48 is because there's so many people. There's more eyeballs to see these things. Bigfoot be getting caught left and right. Yeah, there's a lot of places in Canada that there's no roads. Like you have to take a plane. It's the same as Alaska. Like there's physically no way to get there without taking a bush plane. I want to go to Canada like really bad, and I might be going there this summer. So beware. Golden quartz, yes. Smoked herring as well. Ooh, I think golden quartz is a really good idea. Yeah, the smoked herring or pickled herring is a good idea. I've thought about going back to Minnesota to see my buddy Chris. I have to get back up there. It was creepy. That forest road was 666 and there was all kinds of activity out there. Kind of freaked me out. I've had kids around camp. I didn't notice any more activity. Played music, played baby crying sounds, which I wish I didn't do. Because here's why I think it's a bad idea for Bigfoot researchers to play baby crying sounds on a big speaker. Because I've heard dogmen do it, and you could attract a dogman. Don't do it. Will you be going back to the Wichita Mountains soon. I haven't been there, but I wanna go. That's a really good question, Kelly. I'm waiting on a few people to respond to me from Oklahoma, and they just kinda ghosted me, but I was supposed to go to Oklahoma, and that seems to be a common thing with trying to get Bigfoot reports. People will just ghost you. They're like the Bigfoot, they don't like me. I think people just get nervous, and they're like, "Oh my god, I don't wanna do this." It freaks them out, which I don't blame them. Yeah. Missouri Broad says a woman yelling for help might draw them in. I think so too. All right, Kelly, set it up and we will go. Um, man, I had something really important that I was going to say, but I forgot. Like I told you guys earlier, I've been known to forget. Yeah. So I'll be going back out to the killing field soon. Hopefully, I'll have those audio recorders, and we're almost there. I was looking at the PayPal donate um thing that I got, and there's like I think like 500 bucks in there, and I've had it going for a while, so we're almost there. I think I got like $300 in Christmas money too, so yeah, it'd be awesome. Unfortunately, what I saved for years with the PayPal donate had to go to repair that freaking drone. It sucks. Like I was gonna buy that thing that I said I can't tell you guys about, but yeah, I had to dump all that money to repair the drone, or else we wouldn't have a drone. But I'm taking it easy. I'm making sure I don't crash it this time. Yeah, the Altel drones are just really finicky. It's pretty bad when the cheap drones perform better than the really expensive drones. How much was the drone? Just go to Autel's website and look up the Autel Alpha. But yeah, I keep thinking about the Bigfoot encounter that I had with the jet black Sasquatch. This thing was crouched down. It looked like a black mass. I thought it was a stump. And then that stump stood up and walked off into the forest. And it was identical. Like the situation was identical to the Roger Patterson, Bob Gimlin footage. Um, the thing just got up and walked off. Like it was just like that, except it had the same face as Patty, like that same look in his eyes as Patty, that same facial structure, but still looked different. This thing was jet black, and he had this menacing look to his face. Jet black fur, but around his face it was like a charcoal color and wrinkly leathered skin. And it was definitely spooky. Like when he walked through the forest, like I couldn't hear him. And that was a major clue for me. Physically seeing this Bigfoot in person, like 30 or 40 yards away, he walked off into the woods and didn't make a sound on the crunchy leaves and all the sticks that were there. And that told me that's why people that go out hunting, camping, hiking say, I didn't see or hear anything, because they're moving around us and we don't hear them. It's scary. Scary. That's how they can get so close to people. I physically saw this Sasquatch walk through the crunchiest leaves and not make a sound. How? How can something so dang big not make a sound? Oh, they can make noise when they want to. If they want to like a freight train or a bulldozer moving through the woods, they can. But that's because they're intentionally doing it. They move with a purpose and they're on a mission. And it's hard to know what's going on in a Sasquatch's mind. I wonder that all the time. Like, what is going on in their mind? Especially when I experience the activity. It's like, I wonder what they're thinking. I wonder what they're saying. Why do they wood knock? Love the channel from Australia. Need some of those small DJI mics. Last video, couldn't hear the other fellow sometimes, and You had a lot of wind noise from the camera. Keep it up, bro. I got something better than the DJI mics. I got the Rode mics, the Rode Mic Pros. And yeah, that microphone was, are you talking about the Killing Fields? That's just like an external mic that I put on top of my camera because it's too hard to do research with wireless mics, because if something happens, you turn on that camera, you might forget to turn on the mics. And not only that, each person has to turn on their own mic and they die really quick. So it's just easier to throw a microphone on the camera in case something happens. Wireless mics are not reliable with doing Bigfoot research. They're really good for in-person interviews though, or just running a YouTube channel in general, but not for researching Bigfoot. What's going on, War Chief? What's up, brother? Brother in arms. There was one video where you did research in an extremely active area, maybe Minnesota. There was a voice on the recorder. It sounded like Squatch speaking in their weird voice saying, "What the?" Yeah. Yeah, that was definitely strange. You bring up a very valid point there, Sarah. And yeah, Sarah always has excellent comments. Like I always read her comments. I'm like, wow, that was very well thought. Like she puts a lot of thought in her comments. There's definitely a lot of intelligence going on there. I'm just like a big dumb primate. All right. Hi from Prince George, British Columbia. Man, you live in a beautiful area, Debbie. Miguel, your interview with Josh from Missouri was what mostly convinced me about the existence of Dogman. Yeah, yeah, that was a really good one. And that was by the mounds. Is that the one you're talking about? The one by the Cahokia mounds? That was legit. No, I haven't watched any of the 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 cameraman. I'll have to check it out. Man, it sounds like somebody's outside. I think it's UPS. Screw them. I'm doing a live video. There was a podcast on the Bigfoot Society from Missouri, and it's crazy because everywhere that guy went are like is like my hotspot areas. Like he would camp in one area, like by Fort Leonard Wood, and he was like, I was having all kinds of activity. And then he said, then we went to Tomsock Mountain, and I was having all kinds of activity. Like everywhere that guy happened to be camping is like my exact research areas. I'm like, this guy randomly camped in like the hottest spots in Missouri, which is really cool. I never had that guy contact me, but he contacted the Bigfoot Society if you guys want to check it out. Hello, all. I've seen a Squatch in Washington State up Headquarters Road near St. Helens. It was a female and she threw a rock at me from up on some railroad tracks. Just missed me as I fished. I want to hear your story. Contact me sometime. I want to hear all about it. Mount St. Helens is definitely an active area. Yeah, that encounter where the guy was fishing, that was definitely a freaky one. I've heard a lot of scary encounters where people were fishing. There was one guy that was fishing in Swedenborg, Missouri, and he saw a female and a little one, and he said the big male paralleled him out of there, and it threw like huge logs at him. And the same with that guy in Indiana at the fishing pond. He said there was one standing over there in the honeysuckle bushes and he was fishing. I think he was nervous because he said he cast it again and like his bobber splashed up water on it and it was like, like it didn't like it. People were like, right. And you kept fishing when a Bigfoot was there. I could see why he did. I think sometimes people, like we said earlier, people are curious about Sasquatch just as much as they're curious about us. Sometimes people freeze too. It's like, what do I do? Because you don't want to run. You know, sometimes it's good to stand your ground. It's like a grizzly bear. It's like, don't run. That's the worst thing you could do. Do not run. Somebody said it too, like, "My German Shepherds are always good, but if you run, they will chase you." Hello, Miguel. Hello, everyone from the swamps in South Carolina. Yeah. Yeah, that spot in Indiana, it seems like a hot spot for sure. I could see why they would be there. And, I don't know, I've just been itching to get back to the killing fields, honestly. I'm trying to catch up with these reports and the podcast, and as soon as I do, I'm getting out. And basically, I go out or I do as many podcasts as possible and schedule them out so far to where it gives me time to go camping and doing research. And then once I get down to like the last 2 episodes that are scheduled, I get back so I have enough time to edit the video and post up the new research video, and then I have to catch back up with the podcast. So I think if you're a member on the channel, you've noticed that there hasn't been any new podcast interviews because I'm trying to catch up. That's why I'm doing a live video. I'm trying to catch up on some videos. Wow, there's so many comments. There's so many people here. I don't even know how many people are in the chat. It doesn't tell me, okay, there's 282 people watching. That's amazing. Yeah, the goal for me as far as doing research in other areas, I want to go to Washington, Oregon State, Northern California, Florida, Colorado, and possibly East Texas. Definitely the Texarkana border. I think that's what they call it, like the Texas, Oklahoma, Arkansas border. Seems to be a really good spot. There's a lake, I think it's like bordering Texas and Louisiana. It's called Caddo Lake. Yeah, that place has a lot of reports. Yeah, all it takes, like, if there's people from other states listening, this is what it's gonna take for me to go there. We have to have a solid plan. There has to be people who are willing to go on video and do interviews because it's too hard for me to travel without getting material. So if we can figure out where I'm gonna stay at, where I'm gonna camp at, and if there's people that are willing to tell their stories, I'll go up there. But I don't wanna go to a state and like if there's nobody that wants to tell their story and I don't even know where to camp, I don't want to figure it out when I get there. Okay. So there has to be like an encounter story and a place to stay, or like direct me to like a hotel or a state forest or national forest, like a good campground. I don't want to camp next to a bunch of people. I don't want to deal with people's problems, but I will camp with Bigfoot researchers in an isolated area. There's been too many times when I went out to random spots and people are playing really loud music at 2 in the morning and fighting and beating each other up. I don't wanna be in that situation. Miguel, come visit us in Alabama, meet and greet. Yeah, that'd be really cool. There's a guy that I interviewed recently from Alabama. He said to come on down. He's a researcher. I'll have to see if he'll tell his story on video. There has to be a storytelling. That way when I'm doing research, it kinda all makes sense. There has to be like a storyline to it. And the material is what keeps the channel going. Like I can't just go out to Washington State and walk around the forest by myself. Like there has to be some material. Yeah, I definitely want to come to Arkansas. Most definitely. Like if you live in Oklahoma, Arkansas, Iowa, Illinois, those are most likely to happen because it's driving distance away. It's the ones where I have to fly that are going to be a pain in the butt to get to. Yeah, I'll drive to Colorado. That's the furthest I'll drive. Anything past Colorado, I'm going to have to fly. Like 10 or 11 hours is max driving limit for me. Anything past that, I'd rather just fly. It's so cool to see everyone in the chat. Like these are people who've experienced Bigfoot. They're looking for answers, and that's the reason why they watch these shows. Um, it's just amazing. I mean, that's why I'm here. It's because I encountered Bigfoot. I can relate with everyone here. Yeah, thank you guys for the thanks. I'm trying to hit the the heart button. For some reason, it's not working. So if you sent a thanks, a super thanks, and I didn't like it or say anything, just know it's because I'm having a hard time keeping up with everything. But yeah, the strangest thing that I've experienced at the killing fields was the story that I told you guys at the beginning of this live video where that thing was stomping through the camp. It was huffing and moving around pots and pans. When I woke up, everything was as it should be. And I pictured in my mind like the movie Tarzan when the explorers are gone from their campsite and all the little gorillas are going through the camp and tearing everything apart. Like that's what I pictured in my mind. When I went out there, everything was as it should be. I was like, that's weird. And I did not even know this, but I listened to Ron Moorhead talk about it. He said the same thing, that something went through their camp, and he said it sounded like they were tearing everything apart, like destroying all their equipment. He said, when we went out there, everything was in the same spot. Like nothing looked like it was messed with. That was weird. I've experienced some rock throwing, but I've never had a rock hit me. David said that the Sasquatch threw a rock and it hit him in the head when he was on his tractor. I think it was because I touched their stuff. The video that I made right before that, I found this ammo dump area where they had a bunch of rocks next to a pond. And I was just like picking up all these rocks. I'm like, this is weird. And I asked David, did you put those rocks there? He said no. After that, that's when he experienced the rock throwing. And I've noticed that when you touch their rock piles, their structures, they'll start rock throwing. Like it ticks them off. Like, don't touch our stuff. Oh, Adam, thank you so much. I appreciate you. Yeah, that's true. I didn't know that about paranormal activity. Missouri Broad said, like, paranormal activity where it sounds like a piece of furniture was thrown down the stairs, but nothing is out of place. And that's why I say these things are supernatural too. Like, how can it sound like something's going through all my pots and pans and making a ruckus, and you go out there and everything's normal? Like, that is not right. For a Blackhawk, yeah, thank you. Thank you, Bigfoot. I don't know how to say the last part. Is it Fadas? Fadas? I'm not sure how to say that. Ever since I met you, I'm like, how do you say that? Have you seen them glide? Mm, no, no. The Bigfoot that I encountered, the jet black one with the white stripes, he walked like Patty. It wasn't like a gliding motion. I don't know. No, I haven't seen that, but I've heard it. I've heard it from other people. Sasquatch Chronicles has a lot of reports where people say it seemed like they were gliding. I've had a few on my channel as well. Um, there was one I never talk about this encounter. There was one where I was on that same trail where I seen the jet black with the jet black Sasquatch with the white stripes, the little juvenile, and I was on the phone with somebody on my cell phone, and I saw these 2 deer. They jumped across the road and they were standing on the side of the road. And I'm watching those deer. I'm like, that's cool. There's deer standing right there. And then I hear this limb break to my left, the deer to my right. And I look over and it was a black one. I didn't get a good look at it, but he broke the limb. And when he took off running, that limb went like this, like it was going back and forth. But when he ran, it was like this up and down movement. I don't know if you guys have ever seen like a turkey running. It's like a really weird run. Yeah. So that encounter blew my mind. I never talk about that one on the channel. There's a few encounters that I rarely talk about because I didn't get a good look at it. Even if it was close, like I, I didn't get a good look at it. But what else is upright, massive, and jet black and breaks a limb? I mean, I definitely think it was them. I just got too many encounters that I feel like if I talk about everything, it seems less likely. So a lot of times I don't even talk about a lot of the things I experienced. Wow. Wow. Okay. Jeremiah Butler, use candy or chocolate bar to attract them. Okay, you got it. Squatching with Steve. Oh my gosh, thank you so much. SM4 is $400. The one that seems to work the best for us. Everyone send $2. He's got one. Let's get it done. Yeah, yeah, for sure. There's one that I'm gonna get. I don't think it was $400. I think it was 599. The SM 3 or 4 mini. That one's like 599. And the new SM5, it hasn't come out yet, but you can pre-order it. The SM5 is 799. Oh yeah, yeah, the SM4. The SM4 799 too. Sorry, I'm getting my technology confused. But what's going to be expensive is the accessories. So you can put 11 lithium ion batteries in there, and the lithium ion batteries are rechargeable, so you can recharge them. But each battery, so 2 batteries is $30 plus tax. I need 11 of them. That's a lot of money when you add that up. And if you get multiple recorders, I have to, so if I get 2 of the SM5s, I have to order 22 lithium ion batteries. It's a lot of money. And then I have to get, you can put 2 terabyte SD cards in there. I'm not sure how much those cost, but I'm sure they cost some money too. So I appreciate your support. Thank you guys so much. Oh my gosh, you guys are being way too generous. Let's see. It won't let me like that one. But yeah, thank you, TL3313. I appreciate it. Oh my gosh. Messing up the chat here. Lay down tobacco if you touch their stuff. I agree. And if you kill any, I shouldn't say that word on YouTube. If you go hunting or fishing and you take something out of the woods or out of the water, leave tobacco. I was watching a hunting show on Amazon Prime, and when the hunters took down a deer, they sprinkled tobacco in the water to show respect. Like, wow, I've never seen hunters do that, but yes, definitely do that. All right, so what'd you guys think about this live show? Like, was it good? I feel like it sucked. Like it was horrible. Thanks, Miguel. Dumb primates are brave and getting things done as well. That's right. Oh, you grew up on Table Rock Lake. There's a Table Rock Lake in South Carolina as well. Missouri has a Table Rock Lake, and South Carolina has a Table Rock Lake. In both states, they're hotspot areas. They actually got some really good footage of a Bigfoot walking on the shoreline of Table Rock Lake. This was years ago, and the pictures are phenomenal for the technology at that time. But Table Rock Lake in South Carolina, there's been missing people on that trail, and David Politis did some stories on it on the missing 411, and they still have never been found. It's really sad, honestly, to hear the story from the family members. You know, they just want to find their kid, and it'll break your heart. That's for sure. All right. Like I said, I'm trying to read the comments, and when I do, like, they shoot up, and it's like, oh my gosh. Bigfoot wants sweets. Yeah, I agree. They like sweets. I just don't want to give them cavities because there's not a dentist out there. Yeah, I will go live more often, and I appreciate it. Um, I know I didn't answer everybody's questions, and it was just kind of hard to keep up with everything. But yeah, we will be going to the killing fields very soon again, and we're gonna try the same thing as last time. Does it get boring if the research videos are repetitive? Because I feel like people are getting bored with it. But I mean, there's only so much I can do. Like it's gonna be the same thing every time. Like I have to set up a tent. I have to put out recorders. I have to eat. So it's gonna be like repetitive stuff. I just make sure I don't try the same tactics over and over. Like do the same wood knocks, the same calls, like try something different. And that's what we did on this last video. It's like, let's go camp down there in the fields where he finds all those deer mutilated and he finds all the rocks and all the crazy stuff that's happened is down there in those fields. I was like, we've been doing the same thing, going to the same campsite. Let's switch it up. And it worked. It definitely worked. And I think as human beings, like we're repetitive, like we do the same things. And when you switch it up, that's when you have an encounter. I noticed that in my area, like where I had my Bigfoot encounters, I switched it up. When I got whistled at that night that they whistled at me, and I saw the orange orbs floating through the woods, the orange lights. That day, like I always drive straight to my house, down the driveway, and park in the parking lot. That day, like it hit me like I forgot to check my trail camera. And I got out of my vehicle and checked the trail camera. So I think it like threw them off. Yeah, there are plans of doing research in East Texas, MK Ultrast. Just stay honest and genuine. That's my biggest thing. Like, you have to be honest when you're doing Bigfoot research. If I find out that any researcher is faking things or doing anything that's dishonorable to the community, I'm out. Like, I will never talk to you again. I'll never do research with you again. If even like one of my best friends that's a researcher, if I caught him lying, that's it. You're done. And here's why, because it'll ruin everything I've worked for, and you're going to make every single person who's told a Bigfoot encounter look like a liar. So don't be making up stuff. Not saying anyone is. I'm just saying. There has been people, there's been researchers who have lied and made things up. There's all kinds of people making AI videos and fake things. So like, yeah, I try to stay true. And I tell you guys in a lot of research videos, I'm like, we didn't experience anything. Nothing happened. That's just how it is. But when something does happen, you guys remember it. Miguel, just a little FYI, I'd like to suggest you pick some moderators for your live podcast, to help watch your back, brother. That's right. Because there's probably people that said some nasty things in here, but that's okay. It doesn't hurt my feelings. I used to get upset about that. If people would be like, "Yeah, you seen Bigfoot, maybe you need to take your meds." People will leave like nasty comments, like "You guys are delusional," and you probably believe in the tooth fairy and Santa too. Like it used to tick me off. I'd be like, but now I just kind of laugh about it. I do. Like it doesn't bother me anymore. I'm like, okay, here's that same person, the same mindset, saying the same thing. After a while, you get used to it. It's like they just don't know. You can't be mad at people because they just don't know. You can't blame people. It's Bigfoot. I used to be skeptical, like highly unlikely that something like this exists in the woods. There's trail cameras all over the place. We've explored pretty much everywhere there is to explore. Mm, Not possible. Boy, was I wrong. The BFRO could learn a lot from you. Probably. There's some good people in the BFRO too. Not everyone's bad. I've talked to some really nice BFRO people, and they're like, I don't know why they hide reports. Like, I don't know. They wonder the same thing. They're just like, we tell them we saw orbs and they didn't post it up. They're like, we just like going out here and doing research. We don't make any money. This is just we just like to do this. And then I've met some. It's like that guy's an a-hole. Like I do not like that guy. I don't know why, but I have met some bad seeds in the BFRO. But I've met some really nice people as well. All right. Karen says she really enjoys the Killing Field series. Best to ignore the trolls. They love to try to get a rise out of people. That's all it is. They're trying to get a reaction out of you. And if you give them that reaction, you're giving them the power. Don't give them the power. So when somebody ridicules you, just don't give them a response. Silence is your best weapon. Don't feed into it because that's what they want. Once you feed into it, they control you. Randy Harrington just uploaded the video about how Moneymaker stole $400 from him and refused to give it back after he said, "I'm not going on your excursion." I don't know about any of that. I don't want to get into the politics of the Bigfoot community. But yeah, you have a valid point, Mr. Duffy. I read it and I realized I was already reading it. I had to finish it. I have no opinion on the BFRO. Same here. I don't think everyone's bad. It's like saying everyone from Canada is bad. No, but maybe there are some bad people, but you can't just judge everyone. Everyone who wears red shirts is bad. I just think it's like politics, like the people in control of this country. There's some bad people, but it doesn't mean every American is bad. There's just some a-holes running the country. It doesn't matter if you're blue or red either. There's just going to be some jerkwads that are running the country. You can't win. Yeah, exactly. Bad people everywhere. But yeah, I do feel like the the current river area is active, and I know where they're at. So I'm gonna hit it hard. And the current river is a really big area. I think it starts in Salem, Missouri at Montauk Springs, the trout fishing park. It comes out of that spring, I'm pretty sure, and it goes all the way through Missouri. I don't know where it goes from there, but everywhere it goes, there's Bigfoot activity. Yeah, there's good people everywhere too. I've met so many good people in the Bigfoot community. It's insane. Like you guys have become my family. Like I've made some of the best friends I've ever had from the Bigfoot community. I've spoken with some of the most credible people, and it doesn't have to be police officers, lawyers, doctors. I've talked to people who are janitors who have told credible Bigfoot encounters. I always hear that too. Like that guy was a police officer and he had a Bigfoot encounter. You know, you need to listen to him. It's like, so what about the lady that's a substitute teacher? Like she's credible too. Or that lady who's a nurse, like, or that guy who's cleaning toilets. Like, as long as you sound legit, I believe you saw a Bigfoot. It doesn't have to be somebody who's got a career. It's like if you have a suit and tie, I'll believe your Bigfoot encounter. But if you're out in the woods all the time, I don't believe you. Yeah, I agree. Lots of caring, honest people in the community. Carter County, Missouri. Yeah. Yeah. Carter County has a lot of Bigfoot reports. Shannon County does. Douglas County. I think Douglas County is known as Booger County by the BFRO. They call it Booger County. Are the stories about female woman? Yeah, I don't. You deleted it. I can't read it. But yeah, I've heard Bigfoot has made babies with people. I don't know if that's true. But yeah, if you want to be a part of this audio project, email me at sasquatchtheory@outlook.com. And what I will do is upload audio from these recorders into a cloud and share it with you personally. And you will help me review the audio with either Audacity. There's a program called Reaper. It's free as well. And I'll show you how to use it. It's really simple. And you just have to sit there and listen for stuff. And I'll show you what to look for. Over time, you'll be able to figure it out and move through it pretty quickly. And I'll show you how to export it and put it into a folder, and we'll collect a bunch of audio over time. Thank you so much, War Chief Tracker C, for the donation, and that really means a lot. Yeah, the wildlife acoustic recorders, they do have their own their own software, but it's pretty much the same thing that I'm using. It doesn't auto locate like waves in there, but you can set parameters. Like if you hear a cardinal bird, you can set a parameter, and every time it hears a cardinal bird, it's going to automatically put it in a folder. I wish it could just automatically pick up vocalizations and categorize them in different areas, but it doesn't. But you have the ability to set up parameters if you know how to program software. I mean, you don't even have to know how to program software. You just have to know how to use their software. It's kind of tricky. Can you feel when they are there? I can. Yeah. Yeah. The hair on the back of my neck and on my arms stands up and everything goes quiet. All the bugs just shut up. I can tell when they're around. And there's other things I look for, like little. little things shuffling around the woods. I mean, it's comparable to a squirrel moving in the distance on the forest floor or a bird. Like, yeah, I definitely know when they're around. Not always though, but sometimes. Thank you, Shannon, and I appreciate you too. God bless you. Yeah, you guys are amazing. I can't believe that. Yeah, I do have a big collection of audio. I was putting it on SoundCloud, but I got lazy. But a lot of the stuff is on SoundCloud. I need to delete a lot of stuff on there as well, but I do have all of it saved on my computer, and pretty soon I'm going to compile it and go through SoundCloud and delete all the junk files and keep all the good ones. That way, it's consistently good. And I basically want to do what the Olympic Project is doing on their website. They have all the audio that they've captured, and I think things that people have shared with them, and it's really good stuff. Got to be professional about it because I don't know. It matters. It definitely matters because we want to build a real database that's accessible by the public, and we want to have vocalizations on there, any audio that protect like that's Bigfoot and tree structures. We want to decode the language. That's really important to me. Pressure goes wonky in your ears after it goes super quiet. Yeah, I agree with that, Bigfoot Society. It really does. You can just tell. I don't know how to explain it. I mean, a lot of skeptics go out in the woods and like, I went out to the woods, everything was normal. Like, I didn't experience anything strange. Exactly. So when something strange does happen, you're gonna notice it because the forest should be normal, and when they're around, it's not normal. I hear all kinds of things. I heard a elk even. Yeah, other people are saying the hair on the back of their neck stands up. That's what happened when one charged me and it did 3 whoops. My hair was standing up on the back of my neck. It's almost like when you touch something static, like that your hair starts to rise, like a cat that's freaked out. Oh wow. Somebody said they came face to face with a mountain lion. Can you imagine? They say if you get attacked by a mountain lion, you're gonna have to fight to the death. That's scary to think about. I hear a lot of Bigfoot researchers saying, "No, I don't care. I don't feel like I have to." You might have to because if you run into a bad person, a mountain lion that wants to eat you, or even a black bear, you're gonna need it. Not just Bigfoot or cryptids. You just never know. You gotta defend yourself, guys. Breaks my heart when you start doubting yourself. I know. Doesn't that suck? I don't know why I do that. I've gotten a lot better about that. I really have. There's been a lot of work going on in the background. Miguel is also a musician. Has anyone heard him shred on the electric guitar? Yeah, I do play music. I can kind of play. I can play a few chords. Oh, that's another thing I'm gonna try. I'm gonna bring my electric guitar and my amp to the killing fields, and I'm gonna blast some music. And I'm gonna play, and I feel like that'll work. Before I had my encounters, I did that out in the woods one day, and I never talk about that on the channel, but I think that could be a reason why they became active. But I was playing like super loud heavy metal music out in the woods. And basically, I had a power inverter in my Mustang, and I was able to plug up my giant amplifier, and I had a wireless guitar, and I was playing to some music. Don't know if that's what did it, but I said in the beginning, if you create curiosity, these things will come in. And yeah, I appreciate every single one of you. It's been an absolute pleasure, and I just want to thank you guys for the support and everything that you guys do. I hope to see you guys in the future in the comments, and all the people that donated through the thanks. Like, you guys are amazing, and the people that have used the PayPal donation in the past, you guys are the reason that I have like a thermal device, a drone, and all the equipment that I have. That's because of you guys. And yeah, I appreciate it. Until the next one, you guys be safe out in the forest.